start recording. Okay, so whenever you guys are done with your Eclipse setup, right? So this is the window which you'll be actually getting into. Fine. So from this window, when you click on this workbench, right, which is a workbench over here, so then you will actually get into the actual IDE of your Eclipse. So this is your actual IDE, which is Integrated Development Environment, right, which is also called as an editor, where you can actually write your programs, right? So this Eclipse is basically used to write programs on Java, right, also in JSP or in frameworks. And so Eclipse is something which is a recommended editor for Android development too, right? So that is something which is you have over here, right? Now here, if you can see, they have so many options here. So each and every Android app you are creating, right? So you have to create a new project for creating your Android application, right? So how can you create a new project? Is go to File, go to New. You can just click on Other here. When you click on Other, you will get this wizard window, right? So this wizard window is something where you will see all the type of files, all the type of different XMLs, different CSVs, different class files you can create in this Eclipse. Fine. But now we are more interested on one thing, which is this folder. Once you are done with your setup of Android, right, you will see this folder in Eclipse. So before setting up Android to Eclipse, you won't see this folder, which is Android, right? So once you expand this, now you can see that I have so many options in Android. We'll learn each and every option as we grow in our process. The first thing that I'm going to select is the project, right, which is our Android application project. So this is like a project which we are going to create. So this project is for one application, right? Now when I click on next, now from this window, this is very important for whenever you develop an Android application, right? Now in this, you have three options where you have to mention your name of your application. The first one is application name. So this application name is something, let us say if I'm giving something called my first application, right, which means whenever you install this application in your Android mobile phone, the app name will be shown with this. So that is your application name. And the next space is project. The project is something which is in your Eclipse. The name of your project name will be this. You can actually keep different name, but always try to keep the same name of your project as as your application name. That is very important, right? So here I've kept my application name and my project name same, right? And next one is package. So this package is something which is used to create a classes, right? So what is a class? Class is an entity in Java. As we are specifically talking about Java, I'm just explaining the part in Java. So classes are something where you are going to write your main logic in those classes. Class are raw files which are called as .java files, right, where you will be writing all your logic. Logic in the sense, when you click on any button, let us say you have entered your login ID and password and you click on login, right? So when you click on that, some action should be done. So those action thing will be writing in class. Those classes will be created inside this package. Package is nothing but a simple directory in your folder structure. Let us say you have B directory where you have personal folder and development. So that is called as one directory. That directory name here we call it as technical name called package, right? So here minimum package nomenclature is like this. You have to give the com is nothing but company dot your company name. Let us give some name. Let me just give Sri. Let us say this is my company name and I have my package name. Now here I just gave my first. I just want to retain the same name because all the classes I want to create in here. That is about three different text boxes you have in your creation folder. Fine. Now the second option which you have, this field is very important field, and even in this segment, these three are something which are very important in your long run. The first one, if you can see here, minimum SDK required. If you remember in our demo classes and our previous classes, I said there are so many, Android versions we have in market, right? But the version which is mostly used in market is Gingerbread, right? And the next previous version which is mostly using Froyo. So that's why we are going to select minimum required as 2.2 version of Android, which means the application whatever we are going to develop now will work from Android 4.2 version. And next one is Target SDK, which means your latest version. Anyways, as of now, I have got only API 17, but I hope you guys have updated your machine to 18. Both will be same. Don't worry about that. So whenever you develop, select the latest one. As of now, I have selected my API 17. Fine. This is my Target SDK, which means my Android application which I am going to run now will work from 2.2 to 4.2 versions of my Android. Right? Now, the next field is compile with. This compiling is something, if you understand all the classes in our Android, right, it should be converted to some DEX files. So DEX files are internal files of Android. Don't worry about that. Your Android compiler will take care of converting your class files, which are Java class files, into the Android understandable classes. So that is being taken care by your compile framework. Always try to select the latest one and go for API, not for Google API. Directly go for API. Why? Because we have already deployed this, so you can just go with this, right? So that's what it is. So these are the three important things you have, right? And then the theme. Theme, you can select anything, because anyways we are going to learn about styling your applications, right? How the look and feel is something which we call as styling. You want to keep some button as in some manner, your checkbox in some manner. So those things we can actually do using our styles, right? So these are the different fields which we have whenever you actually create a wizard or Android application, right? Let me click on next. Now this is, yep, Geeta?
So the theme, you said it's look and feel.
Yep.
Is there any user-defined themes also?
Yeah, I mean by default you will get these things. By default you have these three. Yellow, dark.
So we can create a theme of our own.
Yes. You can create theme of your own, and you can actually download some things in Google direct styles. You don't have to worry about more styling, because you have got so many styles of different screens in Google. You can download that and apply directly. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, don't worry about that.
Okay, fine.
Okay, we can do that. Okay, and sometimes there'll be basically the styling part and look and feel part. Developers won't do that. There'll be a separate designers for that. Who knows some Adobe Photoshop and all? They'll be developing background images and everything. Okay, if you are actually entering into, even this is same for even web applications. If you have actually spent some time with some corporate, right, where big web applications development or some development is going on, developers mainly focus on the main logic and UI, but the graphics part is something like, okay, this window is looking very even, right? All that my text box are even, everything. So this will be taken care by designers.
Okay,
they'll provide the style sheets to you, and you have to directly apply them. That's it. Fine. But yes, we can also do that, and we'll see how to do that. Don't worry about that. Okay. Now let me do next. If you have any doubts, you can just stop me here, guys, because this is something which you are going to see now only. Because next time on, I'll be just creating the project. Right. This is anyways. This is a first time thing. Once you set up your application, from next point on, everything will be simple. Fine. Now let me click on next. Now here, this is something which is straightforward. If you see here, create project in workspace. So this is my workspace which I have. You may be having different workspace, right? So I want to create this project wherever my Eclipse is, right? Or wherever my current workspace is. That is why my workspace. Right? Now here what I'm going to do, here you have two options called create custom launcher icon. Now create custom launcher icon is nothing but each and every app will have this one. You can see here, this is something which is icon for my wizard window. In the same way, for your activity, you will have different logos. but by default Android or Eclipse will give you one image. Let me click on next, you will see that, right? So now this is the image which you will see by default. During creation of your project, don't worry about this. Anytime in an application life cycle, you can actually change your logo, right? I'll show you how to do that. Fine, but as of now, let us just say next. I want to use the same. I'll show you where exactly you will see this app. Fine, click on next. Now this is something where, as we selected something called create activity here, right? That's why when I do next here, that's why it says, okay, you said you want to create activity, which type of activity you want to create. Let us say there will be different types of activities you can create. If I go for blank activity, it will create an activity where it's an individual activity. If you go to full screen, if you remember, you can actually completely fill your Android mobile phone with this app. That is your full screen. You will also have an option called just fit the screen and full screen. And next one is master data flow, where this master data flow is like, your master page, where you can actually create a content pages. Don't worry about this. This is something which you'll be seeing how you can actually develop this full screen activity and all, right? Basically, as of now, we start with something called blank activity, right? Let me click on next. Now here you have to give the activity name. Now if you remember, activity is something, each and every screen which you can actually see in your Android phone is called as an activity. You should not call it as a form or a screen or a page or a window. That is called as an activity. Corresponding to each and every activity, there will be an attached class. Your activity is like a web page and your class is like a background script. Whenever you click on your web page login, it has to do some task. That task will be written in a class. In the same way, your activity name is main activity and your class name will be, this, which is your activity name, and your layout. You call it as a layout because a layout will be an XML layout. That name is your activity name. So that is your activity name and layout name. Let me click on finish. Now when you finish, your Eclipse will create an complete platform. So this is, you have got a project which is my first project, right? Now by default, you will see that you will have something called your Android default screen. Don't worry, first time whenever you create a project, right, it will be taking some time to load your screen. Just wait for some time, don't click on anything, because if your machine is slow enough, right, then it will take some time. But if your machine have got good processor and good RAM, then it will actually open up very quick, right? Now this is your first window you can see. Now I was talking about this logo. This logo is something which, when we created a project, we said, okay, use a custom logo for now. So that is the logo which will be created. Anyways, we can change this logo and we'll see how we can actually change the logo. The first thing. Second thing, you can see that, we have created an activity, and you can get a feel that, okay, this is a mobile activity which we have got, right? A simple header, and you can see it has a rectangle which can fit into your mobile, right? So that is what your mobile. And don't worry, the same screen will also fit to your tablet. Whatever you are developing will actually fit to your tablet and mobile phone, right? You can do the both things. Now the main thing which you have to understand here is this part, API part, right? So whenever you create any activity, so this activity was a default activity created whenever we created my first project. Fine. So in this activity, you can see here, as I said, if you remember during our demo class, when we actually have gone through different generations of Android, we have seen something called API version, right? API 17, 16, 15, 13. So this is where you can actually select your API version. As we are going to develop Android applications for latest mobile phones and the older ones called 2.2, right? Even then, always try to select the latest one. Now, if you have downloaded your latest SDK after this June, the first week of August, right? Then you will see 18th API here, not 17, 18, right? As I'm using the same SDK for my office purpose, you can see I have my 17. Right? You can upgrade this API to 18 also. Don't worry about that. Both will be same, almost same, right? So that's what it is. Always keep this as always pick the best. with respect to the development you are going to do, right, don't change anything here. Just keep as it is. Don't ever change. Unless until you need to change this, don't ever go to do any changes. Fine. So that is something where you can see your API, different API versions you have. Fine. Now, the next thing is the folder structure. Very important thing is a folder structure over here. First, for today, what we'll do, we'll just see the folder structure and how we can actually create an emulator, right? So these two topics we'll just see. We'll just go step by step from now on. Okay. Now, so still here any questions, guys? Any sort of questions? These are some basic things which we have to do, and this will be a one-time setup. If you have any doubt, you can just ask me.
Sriram?
Yeah, Nilesh, Faruqi.
Okay, so suppose we design the application based on 4.2 version, but some of the mobile has a 2.2 or 2.3 version. So if can we run this application?
Yes, you can run. Why? Because whenever we created a project, right? If you remember, whenever I went to this, when I created a project, I selected 2.2 here, right? I selected Android 2.2. If you want to give support even older one, you can select maybe 1.5 here, which means this application, whatever you're going to create, right, will run in any phone in between 1.5 and 4.2. That is how it works, right?
Okay.
Now, there is one option where you can actually change this. As Farooq asked this question, is a very good question actually. We have one file called Android manifest file, right? When I click on this manifest file, you can see, I'll explain you this manifest file, this is very important. You can see that user SDK, right? I just gave 8 and 17. You can actually change this version to older version too if you want. When you change this, automatically your application will be compatible with even older files, right? But by default, always try to select 2.2 because no one is using Eclair. Every mobile phone in current market are using 2.2 because for 2.1 there is no support of Android. Even for 4 there is no support as such, right? But yes, we will be selecting 2.2, right? And you can select the latest one. Now the question will be, how can I get the latest target API, right? That will be the question we will be getting. If you remember, I asked you guys to download or update your setup. Well, let me just go to project properties in my Android, right? So this is my Android setup I have done. Where is the setup? Window preferences in my Android. If you can see here, you would have downloaded this. Let me open that. Now you would have downloaded this folder, which is ADD bundle, this, right? So what I want you guys to do is, if you want to upgrade, right? Anyways, I haven't upgraded, that's why I have 17. Just click on this. Maybe Nabila, you can just start doing this because this is going to take more time, right? So this is your ADT bundle which you have downloaded, right? So here you have SDK manager. Click on that SDK manager. So whenever you click on that, right, it will open a window. If it is not opening soon, it will take some time because what it will do is, whatever SDK you have updated till now, it has to get all the features you have installed.
Because that's what happened. We were stuck because as SDK manager was not opening, right? The window was flashing patch file and then nothing happening.
No issues. If you have that, you can actually, upgrade your thing, okay? Don't worry. If anything is going wrong with your machine, right, just try to shut down your machine and start it again. Never restart things, okay? Because when you shut down your machine, there is a thin line between restarting your machine. I'm talking about Windows, guys. I'm not talking about Mac or or Linux. When you actually restart your machine, right, what happens is some sessions will stay for your next session, for your next restart session. So whenever you feel that, okay, if you have installed something, you can restart. But if you feel something is going on, shut down your machine, Windows machine, stay calm for 2 or 3 seconds, or just wait for 5 seconds after you shut down, then start your machine. Which means your RAM will get refreshed after that. Which means you are actually starting a new session. Do that one, okay? Then things will go fine, definitely. Right? Now in your SDK manager, we are talking about this, right? So you can see that whatever you have installed, not installed, it will show everything you want. Right? You can see that most of the things I have installed. Now, if you don't want to see install, there is an option called install here. Uncheck that. Now you can see, most of the things which are not installed. Now click on this, select new. What it will do, whatever are new, you can see that everything got checked. Now anyways, I'm going to install these things today. I'll do that today. But here see, I've got a new API called 4.3. If you install update your SDK from here, right, and install this, automatically your Eclipse here, whenever you start creating a project, you will get automatically 18 version here. Why? Because we have connected and that SDK path over here, if you remember. So whatever it gets updated there will automatically get updated over here. That is how we actually connect our SDK to Eclipse. Any doubts in this, whatever I have explained till now? There is a very important configuration which you have to do. You want me to repeat, guys? Anyone? I can repeat this. Or is it fine?
Yes. Yes, please repeat it.
You want me to repeat, Sandhya? Okay, fine. So here, what I said is, so whenever you download your SDK, right, SDK will be here. Right? Now, how do we connect our SDK with Eclipse is the first question which you'll have. Right? So how do we connect this? Always, so I have given you some link, right? So what you have to do, the first step is, you always have to go to install new software, click on this, right? So when I click on that, you will get this window which is available software. So if you can see, I have already given something called ADT, this link. I am going to ping this link, just keep this in your repository, right? I have just pinged that link too. Okay, so you have to use this link in order to configure your Eclipse. Okay, just what you have to do, click on add. Now here you have to paste it up, that link, and here you have to give something called some name, ADT_21, and click on OK. This thing I've already done, so that's why I can see this. So whenever you click add it, right, you will see some options. So these options will be downloaded automatically from your machine. Just click on select all and do next and finish. It will install your ADT plugin. ADT is nothing but Android Development Toolkit in your Eclipse. Right? The first step. Whenever you just do that, right, what happens? Immediately it will open this window. Right? And it will ask for, okay, your ADT download is done. Now I want a SDK location to set up. There are three things, right? First thing is your Eclipse download. Second thing, your SDK download. And third thing, you have to set up your ADT, right? ADT setup you have seen using your install new software. Second thing is, once you install whatever SDK you have downloaded, you have to give that path. So this path, till this path you have to give. I have given the same path. Once you mention that and click on OK, this complete Eclipse will set up with your SDK. This is what we have done. Now, if you want to update your SDK, now which you can see that now we have connected our Android SDK with my Eclipse, right? Which means whatever change I do in this folder will be automatically reflecting your Eclipse. So that's what I said. If you go to this folder, which is your ADT bundle folder, and open your SDK manager, automatically whatever you are going to update here, right, in your window, this window, remove install and click on new. Whatever you install 14 packages or install this. So while installing this, don't open your Eclipse, guys. You should always close your Eclipse and update this. Why? Because you need one restart of your Eclipse to get effect all these things, right? So that is how you are going to update this, and once you update in your Eclipse, all the new SDK will be updated automatically. Fine. So this is how you set up your Android with your Eclipse. Fine. Fine, Faruqi. So was that okay? Okay, so that is how you we actually select. Yeah.
Sheila?
Yes. Go ahead, Geeta.
I didn't get the SDK logo which you got, Android logo with SDK manager.
You didn't get this one?
No, I didn't
at
get
least
it.
have you got, if you go to inside of SDK, have you got this? You will get SDK and ABD manager. Have you got that?
Let me check.
Sure. Even you guys can check. I think Naresh, I think I've seen Naresh PC, and I think Faruqi's also I've seen.
I got it, Sridhar.
Yeah. And Akshay, you can check Geeta. I think Geeta's SDK, I've got this one. And Nabila, I think yes.
ABD manager?
Yes, I did.
I'll show you.
No, I didn't get it. There also I didn't get it.
You didn't get this? Okay.
No,
You can get this link. I think you have to download it again maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can download this again, the complete, maybe it is not downloaded completely maybe. Now, one sec,
Yeah.
can you see that part over here, Geeta? In your Eclipse, right? If you can't see here, see in my window, I'm not able to see my AVD manager and SDK, right? So what I can do, I can click on my customized perspective. I think we have already seen this with Naresh, right?
Like that only I have done in my thing.
Okay,
So I got these two things in window.
okay, you got these two, you got this?
Yes. Yes.
No, then it's fine. You don't have to go to this folder. What you can do directly is you can just go to window, click on SDK manager. This is actually same thing whatever we are doing there. Okay, don't worry. If you don't have that, don't worry. See, I can see the same window being open.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Okay, don't worry about that. If there is no shortcut, don't worry. Okay, you can just directly use this. Nabila, you understood this part?
I guess.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so that is how you can actually update. And Nabila, if you have this, you can start updating this because this is going to take so much of time. You can just go to this folder, open this, right, and start installing. What you can do is click on this install part, uncheck this, and select new. I think you will get some 64 or 57 install packages. Click on that. Okay, and whenever you are actually installing, close everything like Eclipse, whatever you have opened, so that once we start setting up, maybe this complete setup would have done. Okay.
I'm installing right now the ADT plugin. I will install SDK manager later because my machine is slow. Something is
No
wrong.
issues,
I'm
no
doing-
issues.
I-
That's fine.
That
No issues. You can
run
do it.
behind.
Srinath,
Yeah.
Srinath, I don't have the AVD manager.
AVD
have
manager.
SDK
Do
manager.
you have it here? Do you have it in your Eclipse?
One moment, I'll check.
Yeah, sure. So if you don't have that in your folder, don't worry. At least you can see that in your Eclipse.
Yeah, I have AVD manager in this.
Perfect. So there you can use that. Okay. Don't worry. Sometimes shortcuts will be created. Sometimes don't worry about that. Okay. You can actually work with it completely Eclipse. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine then. So that is how we actually connect to SDK manager and Eclipse. Now let us understand what is AVD manager. Now SDK is nothing but your software development kit. Fine. Android software development kit. Now AVD is nothing but your Android virtual device. Now what is an AVD and why do we need to configure this is a question, right? Naresh? Now AVD is something, see, every time we are going to develop something, right, like Android application, you have to run that application and you have to see whether the application is working fine or not. Every time, obviously, right? You cannot just code the complete Android application and finally take out the setup and run on any mobile. No, that is not going to work, right? Each and every time, let us say if you are developing, and it is the same example of as your web application, right? When you are actually developing some web application, what you do? Each and every time you actually develop some HTML, you run it, check it, okay, it's fine. Code something else, run it, check it. Same way we are going to do this. But here there is one restriction, constraint that if you don't have Android mobile, then how can you develop your Android application, fine? How can you see what is happening? So for that problem, we have one thing called AVD, which is Android Virtual Device. So this AVD is also called as emulator. So this AVD will give you a virtual mobile window in your operating system itself, right? So when you click on this AVD manager, you can see one window like this, AVD manager, and you guys will not have any option, right? You will not have anything over here. So if you don't have anything, you can just click on new. This will open. So this is where you always create your AVD or your emulator. Now you can see that you can give any name. Let us say I'm giving some ADT_22 and something. You can just give this some device. Now in this device, see, this is very important, guys. If you are actually trying to develop your application for tablets, now if you are working for any company and that company is developing some Android application for certain tablets, let us say, right, only for tablets, then you can actually go for tabs. Like the resolution, right? You will have some tabs like some big resolution or Nexus. some big resolution mode. Or if you want to go for some phone resolution, you can select anything. Basically, we always go for 5.1 inch, basically, which is 480 by 800, because most of the phones use this resolution. You can select that, right? So that is your device. And then you have something called target. So this target is something where you are actually mentioning, let us say, as Faruqi was asking, how do I know that for which application, which version of application I am running? So this is where you have to select your target. As we are going to select some virtual device, right? So you have to give the latest one. Let me give this latest. Always go for API level. Don't go for bull APIs. Just select this, which is API 17. Maybe if you update your Android SDK, it will be 18. Doesn't matter. Okay. Which means whatever mobile phone emulator I am going to create here will work till the latest phone. Right. Now you can keep this keyboard and skin enable, because this is something when you create an video, I'll show you where exactly you will see this keyboard, right? And don't go for this back camera until unless you need this. But actually, you can actually use your existing camera, or you can actually emulate that part too. But as of now, we don't need that, because it is going to override your development. Okay, because it is going to eat up so much of RAM. So don't use that. But yes, if you require that, you can just go for anything. That's why we have option of none, right? Now, the memory options here is something where you have to mention your RAM. So this RAM is C. Each and every Android mobile will also have internal RAM, right? Obviously, right? So if your mobile have to run, you need some RAM to run, because older phones, which where you don't have something like graphic cards and all, right? So there you don't need much of RAM. But you can see in smartphones, whatever you can do in your laptop or in your desktop, right? You can do all the things in your smartphones. You can browse to internet, you can play games, right? You can do, you can have multi graphic compatible layers, everything, which means it needs RAM. So here for emulator we will be giving some RAM. So always give some 750. Why always I say in terms of 750 is, if you give 1000, right? You can see here it will actually fail. On Windows, emulating RAM greater than so much may fail. Now this may fail is because my configuration is compatible till 750. That's why I'm just giving 750 MB of RAM. It's more than enough anyways, right? And VM heap is something, as I said, this complete emulator, whatever I'm creating is completely works on your virtual memory. So how much heap memory it can use is this. You can actually just leave this, or you can just give higher if you want to 50. So this 50 is something which is, you are actually giving a 50 MB of VM heap to be used by this AVD. Then this internal storage is something, that if you buy any phone, by default you'll get some internal storage of 4 GB or 8 GB or 16 GB. That is your internal storage, right? You can give 200 or anything. And SD card is something, if you update your mobile phone or tablet with micro SD or any SD card or some card, right? So that is your external storage. Maybe I can just give some 200 MB of external storage, right? So that's it, and click on OK. When you click on OK, it will create one emulator file. This emulator, you can just close it up. You can actually use it in your Android. Now how? Let me just show that to you. Let me first run that, okay? Then I will explain the folder structure to you. Don't worry about that. Let me just run. If you want to run, just right click on your project, go to run as, and click on Android application, right? So what it will do, first time whenever you open your run your application, right? First time emulator is going to take a lot of time. Don't worry, just you have to be more patient, because every time, it is not the first time you are doing. I'm sorry guys. So every time you open your Eclipse and try to run your application, right? So your emulator have to open, it has to load the complete VM, because your mobile phone is completely working on virtual memory, which means your Android mobile operating system have to start, all your services have to start, everything have to be started. That's why it is going to take some time, right? So this is your AVD. This is called as your emulator or Android virtual device. Now, emulator is a common name, guys. Emulator is common name for everything. If you are working for HTC, there will be HTC mobile emulator. If you are working for Windows Mobile, there will be emulator for that. If you have iPhone emulator will be there. Emulator is something which is a common name for all, right? But if you take a specific for Android, it's an emulator or AVD, which is Android virtual device. Now you can see that this is a mobile device which we are going to get. Anyways, it is going to load till that point. Let me explain you something. If you guys know this part, each and every Android mobile phone or tablet, any gadget, right, will have 3 buttons, right? Below your Android phone there will be 3 buttons. So let me just show you that part also if you want. Let me just open Safari, right? Till that part, see. So the middle button, whatever you can see, right? I'm sorry. So the middle button, whatever you can see, is home button, which is in your emulator. This is home button, right? And whatever you can see, let me just open up something here. Maybe just open Samsung Note 2. Okay, so let me just open phone just to show you something. Oops, come on. Okay, rather than, let me just go to Gmail. Now in Gmail window there is one phone. I can just use that image as such. Now yes, this is a phone. Much better. So this is a common Android. For any Android, look into any mobile of Android or any tablet, you will get 3 buttons. You can see 3 buttons here, right? This middle button is home button, right? And that button here is this, right? So if you remember, we enabled 2 things. One is skin buttons and some keyboard shortcuts, right? So this is your thing, and keyboard is hardware keyboard. You'll get it here. Whenever you require, you'll get a keyboard. Keyboard is something where you can use that to actually enter some characters, right? That is a keyboard. Now, in this phone, you have 3 buttons, which is home button, and sometimes this button is your menu button. You can actually open up your menu, and your next button, which is back button. This is the back button. So these 3 buttons will be there for every Android gadget. Take up anything, these 3 buttons will be there, right? And for iPhone, there will be only 1 button as such, right? There won't be any 2 buttons. There will be only 1 button called home button. For complete, take any Apple phone or iPad or anything, you will have only 1 button, right? It all depends on different things. And if you take Windows phone, I think again there will be 3 buttons again. Home button, I think there will be 1 button, I think, which is a home button, right? So each and every operating system will have different. In this, you have this emulator where you have 3 things, which is, you can see, these are the 3 buttons you have. Home button, which is this home, middle button, and you have back button, which is this back button, and you have menu button, which is this. Fine. So now I can use this emulator as if I'm actually doing work with my phone. That is called as your AVD, which is your Android virtual device or your Android or your emulator. Fine. Any questions in this, guys? Any sort of questions? Right? And no. No questions? Okay, fine. And now you would have seen something called, you can restart your mobile, right? You can use this button, which is a power button, to restart. If you want to increase basic controls of your, you'll have some things like your, you can actually restart, you can lock, you can increase volume, you will have increase volume and decrease volume button. So those are these controls. And you will have direct search button, you can use this, okay? Which means your direct mobile phone is here now, right? So that is how your virtual device will actually help you out with that. Fine. Now you can see that it is going to take much time because it is the first time it is actually opening up and it will take so much time. Let it run for some time, We will get back to this once it is started, right? Now, here, let us understand few things. Let me close all now. Let us first understand this project structure as such, right? Which is my whenever we create a project, right? So we will get some files by default, right? Never ever change any name or anything over these guys, because this is something which is standard for Android, and Google, or more rather than Google, right? Android always supports Eclipse to be its official editor to develop your application, which means in your Android, right, whenever you create an Android project, the files whatever are being created are compliant with any Android phone. So don't delete anything, right? Don't edit anything. Rather, you can add so many things and you can work on it. Fine. So let's go through each and every folder structure, and you can see that here it is working for now. You can see your Android phone is up. Can you see this part? Now here in your console, this console is something where you can actually see everything being working. You can see Android is launched, your ADB is launched, and you can see that whatever emulator you have created, AVD_2024 is here. And you can see that, okay, your emulator found waiting emulator to be launched, right? And your home is up and running, and you are uploading this package. What is this APK? APK is nothing but your Android application package. Now, you would have heard of something called jar files or war files or EAR files. These files are something that are called as end setup files of your Java. In the same way, for Android, you have one setup file called APK file, which is called as your Android application package file, right? So this file I will be showing you where exactly it will be creating, right? So this file, whenever you attach your AVD, right? So how is we attached? We have attached with this your SDK. Whenever you attach your SDK, automatically whatever you do in Eclipse, right, will be connected to your phone, right? That's how whenever I run this, it opens this, and whatever APK it has to create, it has created and it has uploading, and now you can see it is installing your APK, right? Now whenever it's installing, which means everything is being done silently in your phone. Now this is your Android virtual machine, which is Android virtual device, and just unlock this, just drag it up. Now you can see this is your virtual phone. Now you can see installing is success, and it will open up automatically your activity. Now this, you can see here, this is your first activity you have done. Now you can see that yes, this is a Hello World activity we have created, right? If you remember, this is Hello World. By default, we created this activity, though that is what we have created. Now our application name is My First, right? So let me close this window. When I click on back button, you can see when I click on this back, it will try to go back, and you can see it got closed. Now you can see here in my Android phone, right, you have different things here. The middle button here is menu. When I click on this, it will actually show the window where all the files are, all your apps are there. Now you can see here, my app is my first app. Can you see this part, which is my app, my first? You can see my application name and my project name was my first app, and you can see this is my first. When I click on this, right, my activity will open, right? So this is what is called as a complete emulator part. Don't worry, every time we'll be using this emulator to actually see different things, fine? Now let me close this. Now you can see one thing got opened, which is your Logcat. If you remember, I've told you about Logcat, but don't worry, I'll explain complete thing about Logcat. Now this Logcat is something, so for Java development, right, you have got your console. You can see each and every step, whatever is happening in your console. But here, as we are actually working with two different components, the first component is your Java, and second big component is your Android. Now all the Java things, you can actually see all the buffers, whatever is going on, you can actually see in console. But whatever you are doing here, let us say I'm clicking on some button, right, or I'm selecting something, or I'm selecting some settings, which is menu, something got opened. When I click on this, everything, all these things you cannot see in your console. No, you cannot see. For that, there is one thing called your Logcat. Now here you can see that yes, auto monitor Logcat. This Logcat is nothing but, which will actually, when you click on OK, you can see there is one window will be created, which is Logcat. Now you can see each and everything you do will be created. Now let me just clear it out. When I click on this, right, When I click on menu here, you can see a log got created. Something will get created. When I click on back button here, right, I'm actually doing something with this. When I click on home, right, it will try to go to home. When I go back here, right, so when I click on my first again, which is my app here, it will open up, and when I click on menu again, you can see, right, something will get. So this logcat is something which will take care of all the tracking things whatever we are going to work on here. And believe me, in your real time, right, you are going to use this window a lot. Each and everything whatever you are going to do on your phone will be logged over here. Now let us say if you don't have this logcat open, now what to do, right? Let us say your logcat window closed, by chance it got closed. Then every window, close your console, everything, you can actually enable all those from here. Go to window, go to show view, right, and you can see so many options. So these are default options. As I can see console, click on this and you can see your console window, and you can again go to window here, go to your show view. You can't see logcat, right? Just click on other. Right now you will see all the options whatever you can actually enable for this. Now I am more interested on logcat, and logcat will come under Android. Just expand that. Now you will see whatever options you have under Android. You will see, you will be seeing everything here. You can see logcat is here. Now if you don't want to search anything, just type over here. Just type your log. Right now you can see it will give you everything you want. Just select on logcat and OK. It will show you the direct logcat. Fine. So this will be your logcat, where you can see all the things whatever you will be doing on your Android. Fine. So that is about your logcat, and that is about your emulator, and that is about your complete setup how you do in your Eclipse. Fine. Now I hope you guys are clear with fundamentals of how you do different things, right? You have any questions here, guys? Yep.
Yeah, sure. So you said about the logcat, right?
Yeah, sure, Geeta. Yeah.
Do we have if you want to see the previous logs, will it be stored in somewhere?
You can save. You have an option called export. Okay. So whatever logs you have, right, you have to click on this export. You can actually save wherever you want, right? You can actually export things. I mean, this is something like like a white board. Whatever you can actually see, if you clear this, everything will be deleted. That's it, right? If you want to save the log, you have to save exclusively, or you have to write program to save the log. By default, your Eclipse will not save the log. It will be the same case with your console, right? Right, Geeta?
So how will you export that one?
Export is here, right? So whenever you have, let me just click on something here. You have a log, right? Here you have. Can you see this small mouse button here? I just highlighted that here. When I click on this, can you guys see this? Are you able to see this one? When I click on, when I click on this mouse button, right, then it will ask you to save. It will be saved in your log, right? You can save up in that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that is how you can actually save that.
And one more thing, Srinath.
Sure.
You said about the .apk file, right?
I'm sorry?
It will add .apk file.
Yeah, okay.
It will the Android will explicitly create the .apk file.
Yes.
Right?
Android, in the sense, your Eclipse will create your basically, yes, your Eclipse will create your APK file. Don't worry about that. I'll show you where exactly your APK file is being created. Okay, when we actually understand the folder structure.
Like,
Yeah.
so if you are developing a small application of Android, okay, and you want to upload, install that application in your Android mobile.
Yes.
So you need all of that you need is the APK file, right?
Exactly. You don't need the complete project. Just copy APK and install. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Even if you want to actually upload your Android app to Play Store, right? You will be uploading only that APK. You don't need anything else. Okay.
So with the internet access, we can log into that, I think, right? with APK?
What do you mean by internet access, Naresh?
I mean, after downloading the APK file with the internet access, actually we can log into the application.
Yes. We can do that.
Go
We can
through
do
that
that.
process.
Yes. We can do that. Yeah.
Where the APK file is located, you're going to run.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
I mean, what is the location of the .apk file?
Okay. It will be created in a bin here. I'll show you that. Let me just show you that. You can see here APK. Let
Yes.
me just open up that. I'll show you that in maybe. Let me just open the folder. Now this is my folder path, which is my first, right? In my Android -2, this is my workspace. In my workspace, I created one project called My First, right? This project. So in my first project, there will be one folder called bin. When I go to bin, you will have APK.
Yes.
You can just copy this to your mobile phone as a normal file transfer or Bluetooth transfer or data cable transfer, whatever, right? And once this is uploaded to your phone, directly install this.
Another flexibility of Android. So
Exactly.
whatever,
Yep.
I mean, whatever like Java or C++, whatever language it is, you have to explicitly create the jar files or RAR files for that.
Exactly. But if you are using your
It is creating for you, so you can just take the APK file and wherever you want to install it, you can upload the file, right?
perfect. Yes, true. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
You just have,
I'm
yeah.
clear about it.
You just have to take this one file. Okay. Is that clear, Geeta? Hello. Yes, Geeta. You were asking some other question.
No, Srinath.
Okay, fine. Okay, so that is all about the APK files and how it was. Anyways, we'll again see how actually see. Let us say you have done some changes, right? You have done some changes, and what happens to this APK file? See what happens here when I clean this project, right? We're cleaning in the sense I'm actually rebuilding everything, right? When I say just go to clean and okay, you can see all your APK files will be deleted, right? Can you see this? Then at that time what to do? Right? This is something, I mean, when I try to run this again, right? Can you see this? Let me just try to run. You can see when I click on this, right? You can see it is actually creating everything. Can you see this? It will actually create a fresh APK, and now if you go to console, right? Now it says, okay, in console it is not showing anyways. Let me just show you that console again. Run this. So it says launching something. Let it take some time. Sorry.
I think you have to change your console to Android.
No. It will directly show as a console actually, right? What do you mean by changing console to Android, Geeta? What exactly?
This is Sandhya. Yeah.
Oh, Sandhya. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
You have different, in consoles itself you have different options. In console, but here it's
Okay.
showing on the right hand side, yes.
Okay.
Under console, you have different options like
You mean Android? This one you mean? You mean this pattern you mean? Okay. Even it should actually give in DDMS also, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. It will actually, whenever I run this, right, it will actually convert it to Android and it will show the log. Anyways, I understood actually what you are saying. You mean to say I can actually change this to DDMS. Normally, sometimes, your DDMS will show you the log of this. As I wanted to show something right in here actually. Okay, you're right actually. You can actually.
This DDMS log.
this DDMS is nothing but your logcat. You can actually see this logcat over here.
Oh, okay, fine.
Okay, but that is for your real-time phone, right? We will come to this DDMS. Don't worry. Okay, we have one topic on DDMS. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now let me clear this and let me run this again. Now you can see your APK file being created, right? Now when I actually clean this, which means I'm rebuilding, which means you can see all the files will be deleted, right? Now if I run this again, now you can see that your come on, yeah, you can see here your APK file being created and it is uploading to your emulator, which means it is uploading here. Now you can see it is installing your APK, which means internally it is actually silently installing everything, right? Now you can see it will be a bit faster. Why? Because we have opened our emulator. Emulator is already open. Now you can see starting activity, it is starting my activity. Now you can see activity started. Fine. So that's how your APK works. Fine. And yes, it is a direct thing with your Eclipse. Right. Fine. So any more questions here, guys? You can actually have that question in the recording. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, basic.
Or else you can keep it in a Dropbox. Explain it now and keep it in a Dropbox. So
Yeah, anyways, I'll be sharing this too. Whatever old files are there, right? I'll be deleting old videos. This will be the first class. Just think that this is the first class we are actually starting from Android. Okay? Don't worry about the old things now.
No, I'm not asking the recorded one. You just explain that app.
Okay. So it is like you can just develop a very simple e-commerce app. Now, let me just give you a few things. The first thing is, first step, what you can do is you can create a simple login app. Right? Where you are going to create a simple activity. You are going to take 2 text boxes and 1 button. Okay? First step. And these 2 text boxes and 1 button, whenever you give user ID and password and when I click on login, right, it should actually log into your application and it should move from one screen to other screen. So that next screen will actually should show, let us say 3 different images of your, let us say some vegetables or some mobiles and some goods, where when I click on that thing, I should be able to buy that. Okay, so this is a, let us say 5 different screens here. First screen will be your login screen, where you have your login ID, password. Click on login. When you click on login, you have to validate that, and if everything is fine, you have to show okay, login passed and I'm moving to profile. When you go to profile page, you just show 2 different images, one image for vegetables and let us say some other images to buy fruits. When I select on fruits, it should go to next activity and you have to show, let us say 10 different fruit options to select, right? And when I select on one fruit, you have to take that fruit option to the next activity and just show that okay, this fruit is this much. That's it. This is very simple app. Start doing it, and once you are done, once all of you are done with this till this part, right, this 5 screens, then I'll actually will come up with more screens. Okay.
Okay.
I think this is something which is a decent app which you can actually do. There are few things which you can actually learn about this app. Okay.
Excuse me, I have a question. You said we have to create the simple activity e-commerce app.
Yep.
There should be 1 button and 2 text boxes and one login screen where we enter the password and the user ID, and it will take us to the profile page, and then the profile there will be the two text boxes with veggies and fruit. Can you explain it again, please?
Okay, it will be like no, it is not page again, Nabila, from now on you should always say activity. Okay, just habituate that. Okay, first activity will have 2 text boxes and 1 button.
Okay.
Clear? That is my first thing. Now, so first text box is username text box and text view, and second text view is password. And whenever you do username and password and click on button login, so this activity should go hide and it should actually open the next activity, which is my profile activity. Okay. Now there are 2 things happening. First thing, you are actually validating your login ID password. Second thing, you are moving from one activity to other activity, and third thing is you are carrying username and password to the next activity. These 3 things we learn from this.
Okay.
Now you are in second activity. In your second activity, what I want to do is I want you to give 2 different images or buttons. Take two different buttons where you write first button as fruits, second button as vegetables.
Okay.
Clear? Everyone clear till that part, guys?
Yeah.
Now, when I select fruits, when I click on fruits button, you have to go to next activity. First task is go to third activity. While going, you have to take an option that, okay, fruits option is being clicked. You have to send the information from second activity to third activity, and in third activity, you have to show the complete list of fruits to the user. That is your third option, third activity. In the third screen, you have to show all the fruits in a list form. Like a list, you can see your contacts, and you can actually scroll up your contacts. In the same way, I want you guys to show them in a list form. Is that clear, the third one?
Third one would be checkbox or
It can be checkbox. No, now apply your imagination. I'll leave it to your imagination. You can actually create checkboxes, select multiple fruits, and click on OK, right? That's what you need to say. Fine. I'll leave it to your imagination. But only what I want is in my third screen, I want you to show fruits options. Okay. Now, when I select any of the fruit and click on OK, anything, right? I want you to go to the fourth screen, and fourth screen as of now will be your last screen where you will show me all the fruits whatever I have selected and corresponding price, and the last I want you to show total of them. This is what I want you to do. Fine? Is that clear? Yep.
Total 4 activities, right?
Yes, total 4 activities you have.
I think it will be 5 or 4.
Go ahead. 5. We don't worry about how many activities.
If you
Go
pick
ahead.
vegetables, you will get a page with vegetables, and if you
Yes. No. Again. You have to apply. See, I want you to use the same activity, and I want to dynamically populate either fruits or vegetables. I don't want you to create two different activities.
fine.
You got somewhere?
Okay.
Why? Because see, in real time, you will have hundreds of stores, vegetables, fruits, phones, real estate, right? You can't create multiple things. You have to create one activity,
Right.
and I want to.
Yes.
Okay. You got the case, right? Okay. So let's start with this. I think this will be a decent. Don't worry. I know that how to use text view, how to use button. Each and every day, whatever you learn, apply that. And once you're done with your activity, I want you to show that, okay? And whatever you are getting each and every day, I want you to apply any concept. It can be widget, spinner, it can be anything, post, it can be your alert dialogue, or list box, grid view. I want you to apply each and everything in that activity.
Alright.
Don't worry about whether you are going for 3 options or 4 options, doesn't matter. Apply whatever you want, but till the last activity, I want whenever you are done with that, I want you guys to share your screens in your Dropbox, okay, in the Dropbox folder, so that I can just go through that screen, okay?
Okay.
Fine with that? Fair enough?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. No issues. You can just start with that. Okay, and anytime if you have before covering the topic, don't ask question, okay? That is one question. That one request I have for you guys. Since in between, the schedule will be scrambled. I don't want to do that.
Excuse me, I'm totally lost in the last.
Okay, fine. So